Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Top Lessons podcast. I'm here with one of my favorite doctors, Dr. Justin Lewis. Doc, thanks so much for being here with me today.
Oh, I appreciate you asking me to come on.
I am so excited. As you can tell on our wall, this is exactly what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about chiropractic medicine. Now, I'm here with you because, one, I'm not just here for fun. I'm actually also a patient.
For sure.
I come to Dr. Justin for the preventative, I would say, painless lifestyle because you fix me. And the best way to say it is what your office is actually called. It's called Get Adjusted Now. Mm-hmm. I love the fact that it's called that because it literally simplifies what you do. In the most three basic words, you adjust people.
Yeah.
And in doing so, you give, or you hope to give, a painless, pain-free lifestyle. Now, you've been in the industry for over a decade.
Yep.
You have your doctorate in chiropractic medicine.
Yep.
You have a master's in nutrition.
Yep.
And to say the least, you have seen thousands of patients come through your office.
For sure.
And say to you, Doc, adjust me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the things I love starting with is, what inspired you to even become a chiropractor?
All right. So originally I was like, I want to go into medicine for sure. But then when I found out quickly blood just wasn't my thing, I was like, what else can I do? So originally I was gonna like, all right, let me go dental, close enough. How hard could it be? And then I shadowed a bunch of dentists. And I was like, this could be easy. And then as I was shadowing them, for some reason, when people opening their mouths, I was so grossed out. I was like, I want to do this. Like, it looks awesome. I know they're helping people. Everyone's got a smile, a teeth. You know, this easy industry. This would be a lot of fun to do. Yep. And I just couldn't overcome it. So I was just like, all right, what am I going to do? And I never really went to a chiropractor going up, but I always knew I wanted to help people. And a couple of my buddies, you know, they played on the baseball team, basketball team, and they were always getting hurt, and they were always going to a chiropractor. And I was like, I have no idea what it is, but I went with one of my buddies just to kind of watch it. And it was just interesting that me never experiencing, I was like, you know, what's involved? And they were raving about the people they were going to. And so I watched a couple sessions just kind of see how it was. And it was just the coolest thing to see somebody walk in with pain and walk out with pain. And I was kind of like astonished. I had no idea what's going on. I saw these guys like jump on people to crack them, stuff like that. I was like, I don't know what they're doing, but I feel like I could do that. And it's just a cool thing with chiropractic that we touch people for a living. We kind of feel what's going on and we see what's going on. There's no drugs or medicine. It's kind of like, what can we do? How can we naturally help somebody? And right off the bat, when I saw it being done for the first time, I was like, I have no idea what's going on, but I could do that and I would love to do it. And that kind of just was the intro for it.
The intro. Amazing. I could see how some of the others can turn you off. I myself was trying to get into medicine, and I'll save you my stories. However, I could see how chiropractor won your favorite. Now, for everyone seeing, like, I'm coming in my stretchy clothes today.
Yeah.
And you have to come very comfortable to see you.
Sure.
Because you're going to twist. You're going to turn to ways that you're like, I don't know if my body can do this, but it's going to do it.
Definitely helps.
And so comfortable is the way to come to you.
For sure.
But also, you are very hands-on is the right word.
Yes.
There are hands going to touch people to say, hey, what hurts? Show me where. What am I feeling? Because you're just not kind of looking at someone's, outward. You're trying to feel for where is that soreness or where is that, spot that makes you go, oh, this hurts a little bit more.
Yeah.
So for those of you listening, if you're coming to see Dr. Justin, come in your comfy clothes, but also come prepared to stretch.
For sure.
Because the whole thing with mobility, right, is that we usually have aches and pains because we have the same tendencies all day.
Yeah.
Right? I think one of the things, I have my own personal story of injury is for 6 months out of my first out of college career at Goldman, I was in the desk where my colleague was to my left. And I did this rotation for 6 months until I stopped and my entire back spasmed. And I literally walked out of the building crooked and I walked myself to a cab. And from the cab, I said, take me to the best chiropractor in town. And literally I showed up and I walked in sideways and he's like, you need help. Sure. I was like, please fix what just happened to me. And since then, I kind of thought the chiropractors had the best thing because you literally help adjust your posture.
Yeah.
Your neck, when your neck gets adjusted, you literally can see better. You're like, wait, I didn't know my neck went this far.
Yeah, for sure.
But also, you feel like you're getting a better sleep also. Like, literally, when I come and see you and I go home and sleep that night, I actually feel like, all my body's back to where it should be.
Sure.
But also, we know that there's a lot of lessons that you have learned through your patients coming to see you over the years.
Yep.
Can you share some of those lessons with us as to what people have done wrong that you have to adjust them for those issues?
So it's funny. Ever since COVID, the work from home life, every single person, for the most part, sits all day. So whether you're on your couch and you have a terrible setup, or you're actually at the office and you have a terrible setup, everyone sits all day. The body wasn't meant to sit 8 to 10 hours a day. I used to see people, they would hurt themselves like doing sports, stuff like that. But now it's like the most common thing I see all day is people, they're just sitting at a desk all day. They're hunched over their little kind of quadrant, their shoulders are rounded, forward head posture. Your hips are nice and tilted all day. And just people are like training their body that this is like the new normal. And it's just one of those things. Poor posture over a long period of time is going to keep chiropractors in business forever. It's just one of those things. It's just people aren't hurting themselves. They're just the micro trauma of doing the same repetitive seated posture over and over again every single day without breaks is crazy. People, you tell everyone, every hour you should get up, move around 2 minutes, go to the bathroom, get some water, do a simple stretch. That's why most people show stretches, like simple stuff they can do throughout the day. But most people, they're just, especially finance, that probably makes up like half our practice. It's just people sit 8, 10, 12 hours a day without getting up, and they wonder why they're in pain. I mean, people work out, exercise, which is great, but if you're sitting 10, 12 hours a day, you're asking to have pain all day. And it's just the repetitive nature of poor posture for a long period of time is kind of the number one thing I work with all day here.
Yeah, and I come to you preventative, right? I come to you because I know what my body starts feeling crampy or when it starts feeling tight, that I need to come and see you before that lockup happens.
Yeah.
So for those of you, you just don't show up to a chiropractor most of the time because something is already broken or something hurts too much. You try and go there to the preventative side to say, fix me before that ouch really starts hurting, and then I need to take off time from work or go get x-rays or do whatever to fix whatever has been aching. Now, in the phenomenon of cell phones and being on your phone all day, right? We go from a computer to then a phone. And that constant like slouching that we have. We'll show you some stretches where you can get rid of that slouch and correct it with the doctor. But what can we do that is corrective before it goes way too far into the, my back can't be fixed?
Yeah, for sure. So it's going to sound silly, but some things are really simple. So let's take the cell phone example, or any sort of phone, computer. Everyone's always like hunched over like this when they look at the phone. It's going to sound sort of silly, but how you should be on your phone, you should raise your phone and have the buttons at the side of your phone in line with your eyes. That's going to keep your head up straight. Most people all day, they're just kind of like this. And if you're on everyone's texting all day, every hour. And if you're like this all day, you're just going to round your shoulders, your head's going to be forward, and you're constantly going to be shortening these muscles, tightening everything up. So it's honestly just simply moving, being more ergonomically friendly. So when you're on your phone, raise it. If you're sitting at your desk when you have your computer, desktop, laptop, put the top third of the monitor in line with your eyes. It's going to keep your head up straight rather than kind of being like this all day. And if you have a keyboard, it's like it shouldn't be out where you have to lean forward. You should kind of keep it in close so you can kind of keep your shoulders by your side and just easily stretch like that. It's all about simple, like easy things you can kind of change throughout your desk setup or phone setup or whatever. That's going to take a little pressure off your body. No,
I love that. And for those of you listening, adjust those small things at your desk so that you can literally have prevention before you're post-trauma and then you need to come and see the doctor. But come and see me anyway, because literally, as I do, at least once a quarter, you come to get adjusted and you feel taller.
For sure.
You feel taller, you feel those muscles release. That crack, albeit sometimes scary, it feels wonderful when you get off the table. And I feel like for myself, it gets me back to being nimble again. I could reach higher, I could stretch lower. And I feel like it goes with the workout kind of simplicity, right? Like we work out and sometimes too much. And we hurt ourselves in that regard where we're now overstretching something or overworking a muscle. And then you, again, have that same issue of you get to adjust us because we overdid something. But you also don't just do chiropractic medicine in your office. You offer a few other services.
In the office, we have a couple other providers here. They're independent. We have an acupuncturist who's here who does like cupping, dry needling, a bunch of stuff like that. There's also a massage therapist that's in the office as well. He works on a ton of people purely from a muscle standpoint. But both of them collectively, it's not just to make you kind of feel good. It's I don't want to say we work as a team, but we kind of work as a team when it comes to restoring posture. And that's one of the biggest things we work on for sure. It's not so much, hey, come in, let's make you feel better and have a great day. It's what's wrong with you? How can we fix you? Collectively, are there things we can all do to sort of simplify your day and make you feel a little bit better, stand up a little bit taller, fix your ergonomics, and kind of prevent it from there. We don't want to treat you, 100 times. What we want to do is see what's going on, give you a nice little recommendation of what we think we can do, and then set you up where you kind of help yourself. And that's the most important part, because people, sometimes they think about chiropractors, it's like they'll need to come 100 times for the rest of your life. We want to treat you, we want to get you better, but then we want to show you kind of how to be better on your own. That's what's important.
No, and this is why, your medicine is so fascinating, because you could do a lot of this at home.
Yeah.
You could show us what to do at home. And I think one of the best things I've learned is when I watch your YouTube channel.
Sure.
And you have millions of followers.
Sure.
Where you literally can say, hey, follow this little stretch at home, and you too can be better without coming to the office physically.
Definitely.
But if you really need to come into the office, come, because you're here.
Yeah.
And you can literally, for that usually 15-minute session, get pain-free when you walk out the door.
Yeah. I mean, sessions range definitely from 15 minutes to an hour. It could be anything. It depends what's going on with somebody. But honestly, the most important thing when it comes to anybody is being active. That's the most important part. If people were to exercise, stretch, all that, a chiropractor is a great aspect for like a tune-up or a couple pointers. But it's just the people who, they work so much, they don't get a great sleep, they don't eat great, and they're always hunched over, poor posture. Collectively, those are one of those things that's going to make you a patient forever. It's the most important thing is pick up a couple simple stretches you can kind of do throughout the day. Eat better, get it right up on a sleep, reduce phone time, stretch more, exercise, be with friends and family. That's some of the stuff that it's simple, easy stuff to do that's going to make you feel better and also not have to come into the office.
Yeah. The lessons here are endless. However, one of the things we wanted to share with you is myths and facts about chiropractic medicine.
Sure.
Cracking your back, good or bad?
So I never recommend anyone to crack themselves. Adjust is the right term, but I think it's like an old wives' tale when people like crack their knuckles. That's not the end of the world with that one. I'm a big stickler when it comes to people self-cracking their neck. I never think you should forcibly crack your neck.
Yeah.
If you do, listen, if you're stretching and you get a little pull and you feel a little click, a little audible sound, that's fine. But the people kind of get in trouble when they're constantly cracking their neck, cracking their back, all that stuff. The biggest aspect you can sort of avoid, especially on your own, the neck, but honestly, if you're stretching, that's the most important part. The sound doesn't mean anything, but everyone always loves that sound.
Yeah.
But you really, and when it comes to me, stretching is great. If it makes a sound, that's fine, but you should really never try to overly force anything.
Yeah. The only person allowed to ever crack my neck is you. I'm I can't even imagine if someone said to me, oh, just do this. I'd be like, no. I'm not going to get that neck for life.
Sure.
Now, you always say the strong core helps prevent injury.
Sure, it can definitely help.
So when you have a strong core, no matter what it is that you're, exercising with or how you get the strong core, why do you always tell me a strong core is important?
Sure. So the biggest thing that we see all the time is people overcompensate. So when we can kind of correct some simple things to prevent overcompensation, that will decrease the likelihood of hurting yourself. So a lot of times when, let's say, your core is a little bit weak, you'll use different muscles you shouldn't be using. Yeah. So especially if you're going to be working out, squatting, deadlifting, all that stuff, if you don't have a great core, that's where it all starts, and you're just going to be using different muscles throughout the day. And it's just the weaker core, the weaker your back muscles, neck muscles, all that stuff's going to be. So it all kind of comes back to your core. Core should always be strong. You don't need to have a six-pack to have a strong core, but you need to be active, using it regularly, and kind of making sure when you're doing certain movements, you're always engaging it. No,
that's right. And for those of us that work out constantly, I think one of the things I always say to myself is use your stomach to do that heavy lifting.
Sure.
And when you're using it is when it's tightened, and then you can do that physical activity that you're, whether it's something heavy or you're ready to go sprint for the time being.
Even proper breathing, using your diaphragm, all that stuff. It's all comes back to that core.
No, that's awesome. And I think one of the things that I know has gotten me in trouble from injury is I don't stretch before I work out.
Sure.
And I literally will come to you and I'll be like, I did something, can you help fix? How can we prevent those types of injuries before we go crazy at the gym? Yeah, so I would say it's sort of controversial, but how people stretch definitely dictates how they can perform all that. With me, what I always like to do is for whatever body part I'm going to work out, I always have a nice 3 to 5 minute simple stretches that I always do regularly to make sure muscles are warmed up before I like to work out.
And then what I also like to do, which most people do, is a nice little cool down. So for each body part, whether it's the low back or the shoulders, the neck, I always have a little plan in my head about what I'm going to do post-workout. Ask different trainers, you're always going to get different opinions, but my opinion is always have a nice little simple routine you do before work, but there should be different stretches for different body parts. And so have a good pre and post stretch, cool down, all that, and have a nice little routine from there. So for me, to prevent injury, to the least opportunity for likelihood of injury happening, is to have a nice stretch routine first and then right after.
No, that's awesome. And I think the older we get, right, the more injury prone we are.
Sure.
So because our muscles are slowly aging with us, we tend to kind of, just say, I'll do it next time, or I'll stretch a little bit more next time. And then you hear that click or that snap or that, in my case, I have literally like pain from years and years of karate. And now it's haunting me back to my older age.
For sure.
And I'm like, oh, I should have stretched when I was younger.
Yeah. The hardest thing and the best thing at the same time is developing a routine.
Yeah.
If you can get in those early habits of people, like new people working out, or even like if you're a regular person that works out now, if you can start building a routine of stretching, it'll become more second nature. And that's one of the best things you can do for yourself is have a simple routine, not overcomplicated. Don't go too crazy with it, but just have simple stuff. Ask people who are in the industry, what are the best stretches to do before I work out, after, and just become normal. And that's, for you, it'll just be one of those things that's super easy and it becomes part of your normal workout.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, you have, again, I mentioned this, a huge presence on YouTube, and you go through a lot of what you can do and how you can do it.
Yeah.
So for those of you, listening and watching, one of the things you could do is follow the doc on YouTube and get his quick lessons of how to do something so that you don't get injured, or what you need to work out before you hear that, soreness in your back. Because I think one of the things everyone should see, at least on the videos or Instagram, Facebook, you name it, is when you first come into the Get Adjusted office, you usually go with kind of releasing the muscle and the tension. So you'll apply the magnetic strips so that everyone kind of, the muscles are now warmer to the touch.
Yeah, we use electrical muscle stimulation.
Yeah. And then you go through I'm going to adjust you now. And for those of you that are scared about it, don't be scared. You walk out and you're fine. The only thing is, it's like if it's your first time, you don't know what to expect. So I think the best expectation is watch it actually on YouTube or watch it on Instagram. And you're not going to be scared anymore about what is coming because you've seen other people get adjusted. Yeah.
So to go with that point, it's like if you go to 10 MDs, you're going to get the exact same treatment every single time. So it's like what you're going in for. But when it comes to chiropractors, you go to 10 different chiropractors, you think there's 10 different professions. One of the main reasons we started social media is people can see who I am, what we do, but basically why we're different. And some of the things that's always important is, when you're getting adjusted for the first time, it's weird. Sometimes it's scary. You have no idea what to expect. So when we post content, people can kind of see everything that we do. But especially if somebody's never been adjusted before, we always do a mock once, you know what to expect. And then as long as somebody's comfortable, then we'll adjust you. We never just close your eyes wildly, just crack someone, hope for the best, right? It's important. But treatment for each person is always independent of kind of what somebody's feeling, what the problem is, and go from there. Like I said, a lot of people, we do muscle work, stretching. We don't even adjust every patient. It's, we adjust patients that need to be adjusted, and that's what we do. It's not like we wildly adjust someone just for the fun of it. It's all about what people need and kind of how we can help.
You want to feel better afterwards, not scared or not, oh my God, I wish someone told me. Because you get now a preview of it on the social media posts. Now, one of the things that, I always say is proactive versus reactive. So a lot of the patients that come in, I'm sure, have a reactive response to coming in to see you, whether there's been an injury, an accident, or whatever it is that they've now mandated to come and see a chiropractor. What have you seen, minus kind of the office injuries, is like the biggest concern that people come in to say, help me? Yeah,
for sure. Like you kind of touched on, the first thing, number one thing that we always see is poor posture at desk, like poor ergonomic setup. But outside of that, what we see a ton of is, with this practice, our patients are, I would say, younger demographic. 25 to 40 is our average sort of demographic. But what we're seeing a lot of people is injure themselves while they're working out. So a lot of people are either new to working out or they've never really worked with a trainer, and we're just seeing through over repetitions, poor posture of how they work out, stuff like that. So that's one of the newer things we've seen a ton, because everyone, especially beginning of the year, everyone wants to work out again. And one of the bigger things that I kind of speak with a lot of people about is if you're new to working out, or even if you find yourself one of those people that work out and you always seem to have low back pain, I couldn't stress it enough. Couldn't stress it enough. Or like working out with a trainer, learning the right way to do things to limit the possibility for injury. So many people, like when they come in with back pain from injury, I'll have them go through like a simple squat, and you can see the amount of overcompensation, or they're not arching their back or anything like that. So one of the biggest things I always recommend to everyone is working out with a trainer, especially if you're new, or even if you've been a seasoned person to work out. Make sure you're doing things right. And sometimes they're expensive, but it's an investment in yourself, and making sure you have the right proper mechanics is key. So that's, it's great when everyone works out, but if you're just hurting yourself, it takes time to find the right trainer. Let them show you what to do first, and then do it right, and then kind of build from there.
Yeah. The reason why most people work out, right, is they want to prevent something. So the reason why working out should be done the right way, so that you prevent further injury and take away from what you're trying to accomplish.
100%. Working out's great. It just makes sure the right mechanics is key.
Yeah. And I think we've all seen those funny Instagram videos where people working out, and you're like, what is that person doing?
Oh, of course. Yeah, and it's always nice to have a simple set of eyes on yourself. It's good because you can only look at yourself so much, right? So it's just when you have somebody who, like an outside perspective, watching you and kind of point you in the right direction and kind of switch a few things, you're going to get a better workout, and it's so much better for you.
Yeah, no, for sure. Now, can you share some lessons about back health, like importance of the structure of our actual like bone structure? Mm-hmm. Like, how is that important to, as we age through life? Because, I always don't want to be the older person that has that hunchback that you can't unhunch. Mm-hmm. So can you stress a little bit more about the lessons where you say, look, it's not just posture, but also it leads to, other degenerative issues down the road? Yeah.
So simple things like right off the bat is one of the biggest things we always stress is hydration, right?
Yeah.
So what I tell someone who's really not good with drinking water and like that, take your body weight, divide by 2. That's how many ounces of water you should be drinking initially, just to kind of get the proper hydration. People, when you don't get enough water, enough calories, not enough protein, your body's not going to function properly. And that's just one of those things. If you're just not eating right or not drinking enough water throughout the day, you're asking your body to not age correctly and not to grow correctly. That's like a simple thing to start with, making sure people are getting enough sleep throughout the night. You can't just work all day and then eat poorly and then expect to feel good the next day. Having some sort of regular routine for exercise, simple stuff you can do, investing in yourself is the biggest thing. Reducing the amount of sugar intake, having greater quality food, all those simple stuff you can kind of do on your own just to kind of help yourself. Stretching is ideal. Most people are hunched over all day, right? So compensating for simple things. So if you're one of those people that are always flexed over, work on some simple stretches to put yourself into extension. Do different things. Do different workouts you've never done. Try different stretches. Just move your body in ways it's not used to doing. That's a great way to compensate for a poor lifestyle like that.
No, and I'm one of those people that probably needs to stretch more.
Yeah.
But also in the morning, I've tried to do stretching as soon as I get up.
Sure.
Doesn't always find time in my schedule. However, I know when I do it, I feel better.
Yeah.
Because then that whole like hunch is like you now consciously are trying to sit straight and proper posture again. Yeah. And then, obviously I'm like, oh, it's that time of the quarter where I need to come and see you.
Yeah, for sure.
But one of the reasons why I even come to see you is because you have this one machine, the wave machine.
Yeah, for sure.
That I love because it literally forces you to kind of, and we'll show it for the rest of you that you'll see what I'm talking about. So it simulates a wave and it kind of forces your back to sit in a way that it normally isn't hunched.
Yeah, so
it's the unhuncher.
Yeah, it's a fantastic, simple machine. It's like the concept behind it is everyone hunches all day, everyone's always in flexion, and nobody really gets themselves into extension. So it's a simple table. It feels phenomenal. You literally lay on it, and it forces you into overextension to compensate for poor posture.
Yeah.
For me, I kind of try to lay on it every day, 5-10 minutes, like during lunch, because with me, when I treat people, I hunch a lot, and I try to have great posture, but a lot of times when I'm doing this stuff, I tend to hunch over. So it's a simple way for me, outside stretching, to compensate for my flexion that I put myself into. But it's simple stuff and it feels phenomenal.
No, that's awesome. And the chiropractor takes his own advice.
Oh, for sure, right? Nobody's ever perfect, but if you kind of pick some simple things to help yourself, it really goes a long way.
No, that's awesome. Now, you have treated athletes and performers by the thousands. A lot of them are on your Instagram page.
Sure.
Where you literally show a live video of cracking, adjusting someone.
Sure. And,
the relief kind of a sports person being in pain is usually like, it's like aha moment. Like, of course they're going to be in pain.
Sure.
But who fixes them? And you go, you're the guy.
Yeah.
They come to you to get adjusted.
Yeah.
And it's great to see that because I think all of us think that like, it's just kind of like the poor posture, or maybe the accident that caused someone to come and see you, or maybe it was just because, you overextended something to come and see you. But then you see everyday athletes are coming to also get adjusted because they're constantly getting, training, and that training is just taking a toll on them.
Sure.
And I think we all just need to understand that chiropractic medicine, at least in my opinion, is something we should all, as we age, think as preventative. Because, I know plenty of people are going to see this and they're going to be like, well, I only go when I'm injured.
Sure.
And you go, well, okay, we see our doctor once a year to take those tests, the regular doctor, but why can't we see you preventatively?
Sure.
And the answer is, of course you can.
Yeah.
You're here for that reason, and not to the reason where, like, literally back in my, younger days, where I walked in sideways into the chiropractic office saying, please help me.
For sure.
And I truly never want to be there again because I knew how much pain that was.
Yeah.
I never knew a back can twist and stay that way.
Yeah.
Until it happened to me.
For sure.
And then I realized that there was older people that look like this and they're just forever that way.
For sure.
And I'm like, not going to happen to me. So one of the things that you mentioned about what inspired you to go into chiropractic medicine, I kind of want to take you backwards.
Sure.
I have this see it, be it moment where you look at the amount of years you've already spent as a chiropractor and you go, what advice would you say to your 18-year-old self? Not to the guy who wasn't sure what medicine to do just yet. But now that you have been a chiropractor for a while, what advice would you say to your 18-year-old self about your own industry?
So one of the most common things is, like, when I went to school, I would say the one thing chiropractic school lacks is the business side.
Yeah.
So they teach everyone how to be a great chiropractor, but they don't teach you how to open your own business, all the background stuff like that. And so for me personally, I was always nervous to open my own practice. I worked for 6-7 years for other people. And it was so much time, and because that the fear of opening your own thing is like, how can you do it? But if I was going back to myself, I would have cut down the amount of time I spent in other people's office, and I would have taken the plunge earlier just to kind of make my own mistakes and kind of build from there. Like, opening my own practice was one of the best things I could have ever done, and I waited a long time from nerves or experience or whatever. And it was just one of those things, like, I wish I would have taken the plunge a little bit earlier, done things my own way originally, and kind of built from there. It's so much fun, like, having your own practice, doing things your own way. I'm happy for how everything led, but I would say, stop being so nervous, just start and go from there.
I love that. So for those of you, looking for a career,
sure,
and you're inspired by Dr. Justin himself, it's nice to hear that he himself went through the ups and downs of a business.
For sure.
And now has said, I wish I knew this and I wish I started earlier.
Yeah. Because you're always going to make mistakes, but learning them earlier is always better.
Yeah. I mean, look, we all have, many of us have regrets about something.
Sure.
But at the same time, like, you ended up opening Get Adjusted now in 2019?
Yep.
So you've had plenty of years in the business already.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's your business, your name on the front door.
Sure.
And I think it's inspiring that someone, who's watching this or is thinking about a career choice may be inspired by you.
Yeah.
And to say, I too can be a chiropractor.
Yeah.
Or at least, see what a chiropractor entails. And like you did it in the EMT business and in the dentals business, you found out it wasn't for you.
No, definitely not.
But at the same time, I think it's an inspirational story because, one, it takes years of school.
Sure.
It's not a quick, degree.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know how long it took to get a doctorate in chiropractic medicine.
Yeah.
Until I did the research, and one of my friends is a chiropractor as well. And, getting a doctorate is you need hours of service.
Yeah.
So you have to put in the training because you are working on someone's body.
Sure.
Which I appreciate because I don't want someone fresh out of school who's never touched the back.
Yeah, of course.
But I also appreciate the fact that, you get to see kind of like the difference what every chiropractor has or does.
Sure.
Like, you're the wave machine. Not every chiropractor has that.
Yeah.
So when I came to see you, I'm like, I found my guy.
Yeah.
I was like, the wave machine sold me for sure.
For sure. I mean, everyone has their own niche for sure, but it's nice to see different things in different offices, which help different people in different ways.
Yeah, and you also provide the other services that we discussed, which is nice because if, like, look, I want a sports massage, I can also come and see you for the sports massage.
Yeah, it's, because everyone wants different things. So I always wanted a place where I could have other, like, similar modalities, in one place. Which I thought would be great.
No, I think it's really comprehensive kind of pain-free choice to come in and get a few checks done.
Yeah,
not just
I know I can't help
chiropractor.
everyone, so it's
Yeah.
nice when people have options to do it.
Correct. Yeah. Now, one last thing, and I promise we will show you all some stretches and how to do this better at home. You obviously have had years of already being in the industry. Where has social media helped you?
Yeah. So I opened the practice 2019. I was open for about like 6 months until COVID happened.
Yeah.
I went from sort of successful in the beginning. We got busy quick, which was awesome. COVID happened, practice died. I really wasn't sure how I was going to get back clients because when COVID happened, I'm in an industry where I touch people for a living.
Yeah.
And then I had a friend in marketing that sort of was like, hey, what are you doing for social media? I was like, I have no idea. My social media, my Instagram was me taking pictures of like my socks and just random stuff that just wasn't helpful. And so she kind of she deleted everything, started over, started to show people what we do. And as people got more comfortable, coming in, we started working with some influencers, and then people got to see who we worked with, what kind of services we offer. Because again, when you go to a chiropractor, you have no idea what to expect. It's so vary across the industry. So people got to see who we are, what we offer, what we can do, and if they would know right away if we're the right person or not. So it was just cool. So when we started with Instagram, that got busy really quick. Then we went to TikTok, which got big, YouTube, all that stuff. So it's just fun because social media has enabled us for I have no idea how people used to find their doctors back in the day, but it was before social media. But now it's like our reach is so far. We have people coming from all across the world just to come in to get adjusted. And it's a ton of fun.
Yeah. And it's great because you're in New York City and if you're coming as a tourist or a visitor, like you can find you on social media and say, hey, because of that, I now can come and get my adjustment while I'm on my vacation.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that happens every single day.
Yeah.
And a large portion of our patients come from social media. It's rare if they don't.
Yeah. Now, if you're watching this on the Top Lessons podcast, I want you to come in and tell the doctor where you found him. But it's only because I want everyone to say, look, I know I need something to feel better.
Sure.
And that something may not just be helping you by doing a stretch at home.
Yeah.
And I always say, look, you could stretch at home, but it's sometimes good to come to the expert.
Sure.
And get that adjustment at least once a year or whatever you feel comfortable with, where someone who is the expert helps you fix your posture, your back, or whatever is aching. I always kind of have this analogy, if you're going to be the best, and I kind of say cars are my metaphor because guys get cars.
Sure.
So I go, are you the bicycle, the Toyota, or the Ferrari? So if you're going to be the Ferrari, you want the expert that's the Ferrari technician to work on you. You kind of don't need the guy fixing the bike to look at the Ferrari. So treat your back like a Ferrari and come and see the doctor for the Ferrari that can help you be the best person you can be. Whether you're an athlete or whether you're just, working on at the desk all day, every day.
Sure.
Fixing your posture and getting that preventative care, I think, is where my lesson to everyone out there is. Go get that extra adjustment because you don't know what you're missing out. I could tell you on my own opinion, I appreciate every time I get a visit from the doctor. And I feel 10 times better to say, now I can go work out stronger or even more. And again, I'm sleeping better. I think I did a podcast on restful sleep.
Sure.
And one of the lessons of restful sleep is when your back is correct, when you're not twisted. And God only knows how we all sleep in different ways. Sure. So when you wake up feeling ill from your sleep, you're probably sleeping 100%. Like a crazy position. And that is where you may actually need to get more adjusted from the sleep. And for all of you with a crazy life, whether you're parents or, working like crazy, this adjustment may just provide that relief that you've all been looking for. And I always say the best drug in life is sleep, but the second to it is feeling good. So when you feel good, everything else kind of falls into place.
For sure, I agree.
So come and visit Dr. Justin at Get Adjusted Now. We're on 8th Ave between 35th and 36th Street in New York City. And we're going to show you some stretches and what you can do at home to feel better yourself. And if you need anything else, he is on social media, Instagram, Get Adjusted Now, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, you name it.
A little bit of everything.
And we'll link everything for you so you have it all in one place. But I think one of my best responses to a chiropractor is it takes an expert to do what you do.
For sure.
And the years of schooling come kind of all full circle when you make someone feel better. So thank you for making me feel better.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for being a guest here. And as I always said, I'm not just, a host here, I'm also a client.
For sure.
So I appreciate the doc coming and doing this with me. And we'll show you some quick tips on what you can do at home. So like, subscribe, and both of us like and subscribe on both of our channels, because we'll hopefully have everything linked for you to come and see the doctor yourself. And for next time, leave your comments, and if we need to have the doctor do another follow-up, I'm happy to do one again. And enjoy the wave machine for 2 seconds, what you'll see me on in a minute, and you can see why I come here all the time. So on that note, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, Doc.
Thank you again.
Bye.